Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Astrologer Podcast. This is Deb McBride, and I am recording this in very lovely, now dark, Escazú, Costa Rica, on Sunday, January 25th, in the year 2026. And lots to talk about this week. As you probably know, as you've heard me say last week, and if you've seen me on Instagram, you've heard me say there are many planets in Aquarius. And here's the thing, they're going to stay there for a while. So they are not leaving. You know, the sun went into Aquarius a week ago, and it stays for another 3 weeks. Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. You know, Venus will be there for the next several weeks. Mercury will be there for the next several weeks. And Mars will be there for longer than the next several weeks. Okay. So this is a very hot Aquarian time. That's 5 planets in Aquarius. It's a very intense bunch of energy. And we know from last week that Mars just went in on Friday, and it's going to be conjunct Pluto on Tuesday of this week, and that is already getting revved up, so that Mars-Pluto conjunction, which is going to be the last of the planets conjuncting Pluto in this group. You know, and of course the moon will come to Pluto every month, but we're done with Sun and Venus and Mercury and all conjuncting Pluto. They've all done it already. They are moving on. And Mars is always the slowest of that group of 5. And everybody of the inner planet group is there except the moon, because the moon was already there last week. So very profound, very intense Aquarian energy. And what's Aquarius? It's contrary. It's analytical. It's forward thinking. It's not something that's thinking about the past, even though Aquarians can appear to be a little retro. It's outer space. It's freedom, independence, liberty. It is a powerful step toward the future. And that's what the signature and the essence of this time is, a powerful step toward the future. So, you know, we embrace this and we understand it, and wherever Aquarius is in your astrological chart, things are lining up. You can look at your chart and find out where that lineup will occur. And so this is historical because we don't get this very often at all. You know, when Mars goes into Aquarius, rarely are the other ones in Aquarius, because, you know, Mars doesn't travel at the same rate that they do. And this has all been getting revved up the last couple weeks, and it is a big departure from Capricorn, I have to say, because the energy to me feels lighter. Capricorn is more plodding. It's much more of a plodding, earthy energy, which is fine. You know, if you need to get things done, it's very material world, where Aquarius I think of as like the quantum field. That and Pisces. You know, it's like, what's out there? It's the unknown. It's the unexpected. It's something completely different. So, yeah, we have a lot to talk about that's going on in this next few days and the next week. So this first thing is that today is the last day, the last full day in our lifetime that Neptune is in Pisces. Neptune is leaving Pisces. Neptune is leaving its own sign where it's been for 12, 13 years. It's going into the sign of Aries tomorrow at 12:37 p.m. Eastern Time, and it's staying there for the next 12 years. And this is it. We are in the final days and hours of Neptune in Pisces, and it's been quite a ride. You know, I think things like astrology have really opened up and blossomed during this time. I think a lot of healing and Reiki and things, as I mentioned before, have really opened up and blossomed. And this is the end of Neptune in its own sign. And so we say goodbye tomorrow, which is a little sad because it's been ruling the heavens all these years, really. And so it moves into fiery Aries tomorrow. And this is going to be a very interesting journey. Very interesting journey. So it will go to the cardinal axis when it does that tomorrow afternoon in our region of the world. And it's getting revved up to meet Saturn, which is going to go into Aries 2 in February. So that is an evolving story. And, we see things happening in the world. I feel like Aries is already very present, people, individual voices, people speaking up. So that's important. And I think that we are headed for some really interesting stuff. Now, remember that Mars rules Aries and Mars is meeting Pluto on Tuesday. It's already there. They're already talking to each other. They're already in fisticuffs. They're already in intensity and go-getter energy and passion. They're already together. And as of tomorrow, Neptune will be ruled by a Mars that is with Pluto. So that's one heck of an aspect going on there. And, we're getting excited. Things are changing. We're moving into something different and bigger and hopefully better, right? Yesterday was my birthday. Those of you who follow me on Instagram probably saw the post. Yes, it was my birthday. And the day before, on the 23rd, I did a Dr. Joe Dispenza coherence healing. And so I wanted to bring this to people's attention because it's a really good thing to do. And, I like Dr. Joe. So I was really impressed with this particular one. I've done a bunch of them, but this one was particularly healing and very powerful. And what is a coherence healing? It's a free resource that his students give around the world. And a coherence healing can be obtained by going to his website, drjoedispenza.com, and going to resources and clicking, when the drop down comes, you click on coherence healing and it brings up all the groups that are offering this service. Now, you might pull down the drop down and go to the groups and see nothing's available, and that means they're booked. And that doesn't mean, like, if you don't see anything for like 3 weeks from now and then there's nothing for months, they only put them out when they're ready to accept new people. And that doesn't mean they're gone for 6 months. It just means that they just let a few out at a time. So you should go back and check regularly, like weekly or something, to see who's available for coherence healing. And it's a bunch of healers that are trained in his work, and they heal you. They do a healing on you from a long distance, from on Zoom. And if you saw his movie Source, It's Within You, you see how the healers have worked with people at his retreats. And when you go to one, which I haven't been to, you get a card that says healer or healee. And if you're a healee, the healers work on you. And if you're a healer, you work on the person to be healed. But that doesn't mean you're not getting healed, because obviously when you're conjuring up healing energy, you are getting healed too. So it's a lovely experience. It's free. I recommend it to anyone. And you just need to sign up and write a statement, an intention, and send a picture of yourself smiling. And it's all very positive. I felt so much incredible love during this healing. It was delightful and it was beautiful and it was misty, teary, and it was just so incredibly powerful and loving. And that's what they're there to do. And they say that. And the people that lead these groups are just so lovely. And they are there to help you heal. So no matter what it is, whether it's emotional, physical, both, you can align yourself with one of these events. And I highly recommend it. So, treat yourself. Go do that. It's free. Okay. And just sign up for that and get your coherence healing. And they've had so much success with it. You can read about it on his website as well. In the meantime, so I did that on Friday, and that was a wonderful thing to do for my birthday. And then we went out yesterday. I was out yesterday to get a massage, and then I went out with my family, my friends here, and we had a wonderful time. And so I'm very pleased to start this new year with all these planets in Aquarius. I guess they're in my favor. They're all passing over my sun, so it's been a jolt of energy for sure. And speaking of jolt of energy, last Monday, the 19th, the day after I did my podcast, when the sun entered Aquarius, or right before, a couple hours before, Venus and Pluto were meeting in Aquarius. Mars was trining Uranus, but later at night, and all of this was happening last Monday. Remember I said Monday was pretty big? And we had a very shaky earthquake here. I don't want to say it was massive because there was no damage as far as I can see, but it was close to where I live. It was a 4.2, and it was close enough to make it feel like it was much more profound. And I couldn't believe it. I was sitting on the patio working on my computer, and I just ran off the patio because there's a roof on the patio. It's not just some empty patio. And I just ran into the garden and stood there and waited until I didn't feel it anymore. And it was like, oh my God, that was something. And it was not something that you never expect those things, but it was so intense. It was just close and intense. So that's how my new solar year is starting a few days before with an earthquake, a very powerful earthquake. Anytime we have like real Aquarian, Uranian energy, never fails. There seems to be some earthquake thing that happens. So yeah, that happened last Monday. I don't think we're having that this week. I hope not anyway. Anyway, so we are getting a very strong dose of Aquarius for the next few weeks. And then there's this whole Neptune entering Aries. And then what's going to happen is when we get to Sunday, the 1st of February, this is the last week of January, when we get to Sunday, the 1st of February, the full moon is at 13 Leo, and that is on Sunday. And that full moon occurs with the sun in Aquarius, as you know, and the moon in Leo. That is at 5:09 p.m. Eastern Time. 13 Leo is where it is, and that corresponds by semi-square to 28 Pisces. And what's at 28 Pisces? Well, right now, Neptune is at 29, and Saturn is getting very close to 28 Pisces. So it's tapping into the Saturn-Neptune conjunction that we're having. And wowie. So every time we have a lunation, it's tapping into the eclipses, it's tapping into the Saturn-Neptune, it's tapping into the greater picture that we have going on. And I want to say that this full moon ain't an ordinary full moon, and you know what I'm going to say. Whenever I say that, it's the one that opens the eclipse period. So this is the eclipse period. As of next Saturday the 1st, there is going to be the full moon that opens the door 2 weeks before the eclipse. And the eclipse period is on February 17th, and that is a Tuesday. That is the first eclipse, and the second one is March 3rd. And if you've heard me talk about this, 28 degrees of Aquarius is where that eclipse is. It's a solar eclipse, and that one is on the United States moon in the United States chart. So I expect news and events. I don't know what they will be. I can't tell you specifically what anything will be. So I know that there will be events, that's all. But we are looking at a new era. We want a new era. We want change. We want different things. We want to open the door to something good, right? So transformation is messy, like I said last week, and I've been saying a lot lately. And it's never going to be a simple, ooh, look, it's good. Hey, it doesn't work that way. But I will tell you that the pot is being stirred because Tuesday the 3rd, which is 2 days after that full moon, which is starting to look very beautiful in the sky, Uranus goes direct. Uranus goes direct. And this is a very powerful thing to have happen. Why? Well, it's the last outer planet to go direct. Jupiter's still going to be retrograde for a little while, but Uranus is important for lots of reasons. One, this is its last direct station in Taurus. Now, this is not this week, it's next week. But I want to give you a little preview of this because it's important. It's going to be stationing now. Uranus is stationing now. It will go direct 9:33 p.m. on Tuesday the 3rd Eastern Time. So Uranus is going to be leaving Taurus and going into Gemini. That won't happen for a couple of months until the end of April. I think it's April 26th. That's 3 months away. So that's when Uranus goes into the sign of Gemini and leaves Taurus for good. So this is it. This is going to be the third one that leaves for good of the bigger planets that stay places a long time. So that's something important, right? That's one thing. The other thing is that Uranus is going to be squared by that eclipse. So when the eclipse comes, it's going to square Uranus, which adds a whole other flavor of Aquarius and Uranus to the eclipse. Okay, so that's pretty big. That's a big deal. And Uranus going direct shuffles around what we've got happening in the sky with 5 planets in Aquarius, which of course they'll all still be in Aquarius next week when Uranus goes direct. That's a mouthful, right? That's a lot of energy. So Uranus is going to make all sorts of stuff surface, and there'll be surprises and unexpected things. And there are going to be some moments when we realize that we're not going backwards. We're not going back. This is it. This is further on into history, into the next chapter of history, further into the future. We're not going back. And Uranus isn't going back into Taurus. It'll hang out there and it will leave. But, Saturn is going to leave Pisces, go into Aries, not to see Pisces again for 29 years. And we know that Neptune is leaving Pisces, and that's it for 165 years. So this is it, guys. We're moving forward in a major way. Once Uranus moves forward in direct station, forward, it's going to start ringing the chimes of Gemini, and we're going to start seeing things in the house that holds Gemini for each of us. And so that's something important to pay attention to. But first, it's going to rattle the Aquarius room. It's going to rattle the Aquarius room. It's going to make that Aquarius energy shake, rattle, and roll. Okay? And we are going to have some, I think, more information about what's going to happen. But it won't be anything we expect. Remember, Uranus is the planet that is saying to us, expect the unexpected. And the one thing that you didn't think of, well, maybe this will happen and that'll happen. And if you thought of it, it's probably not going to happen. But there's going to be something that comes out of the blue, which is oh so Uranian. And maybe, I had one friend here telling me maybe we're going to finally, they're going to finally admit that aliens are among us. And I thought that would be great. Wouldn't that be great? It's so Aquarian. Aliens are among us. Yes, and here's where they hang out. And this is what they do, and this is where they're from. And finally, people have to accept that aliens are among us. But probably not likely. And I just said that, so I thought of it, and my friend thought of it, so probably not, because it's going to be something we didn't think of. And yeah, if a spaceship lands in your backyard, man, well, let's see what happens. This is unexpected energy with Uranus. And you want to be careful. Uranus flies off the handle, and anything in Aquarius can fly off the handle. And with Mars and Pluto this week in Aquarius together, you could fly off the handle. So don't do that. And please be careful when you're driving. My usual array of recommendations when there's Mars Uranus or Mars Pluto. So we're revving up here. Mars Pluto is already happening. I feel it, and you probably do too. And don't get angry with your kids. Don't get angry with your pet. Try not to get angry with anybody. And if you need to express your anger, go express it. Go yell outside. You scream into a pillow. Throw something across the room that's not going to break. Don't throw it at anyone. Just throw your pillow. Okay? So just get it out of your system and work through your anger, because this is an exceptional time we're in. Exceptional. And so it's not just we're experience, it's a Mars Pluto. This is a Mars Pluto that's going to rule Neptune. That doesn't happen ever, right? So Neptune is now moving into the cardinal axis, and it's going to stay there for a little while, and it's going to be this energy that's in Aries that is different than Pisces, and it's the warrior sign. It's the confidence sign. It's the sign that gets things up and stirring and moving. So yes, this is something profound. And if you are in Aquarius, you are so feeling all of this. You're ready to rock and roll. If you're a Leo, you're feeling this because it's opposite you. So maybe the people in your life bring it to you. If you are a Taurus, you are getting this really in like your career area, and maybe you're restless and you want something new in your career. And if you're a Scorpio, you're getting this at home. So maybe there's something happening in your home or your family that's shaking things up, and that's where all this Aquarian energy is for the fixed signs. You are a fixed sign, you're feeling this, okay? Because it's a stress to the other fixed signs. It's a square or it's an opposition, like in the case of Leo. But it's a conjunction for us Aquarians, and we have to be able to navigate this very well over these next weeks, okay? And eventually, Mercury will go first into Pisces, and that will be in February. And pretty quickly, because it's going to retrograde in February. So it'll go into Pisces and then do its retrograde thing late Pisces. And everything is going to hit that eclipse point except for Pluto. The sun and the moon obviously will be the eclipse. But Mercury will pass over the eclipse point before the eclipse happens. Venus, Mars, eventually Mars will do it after. But it will be a very triggering experience. We're going to start getting pieces of information. It's not like everybody's in a different sign in the eclipses in Aquarius. It's everybody's in Aquarius, and they're all going to give us a piece of information, and Mercury's going to go first, right? Very interesting, 17th of February. And the 18th of February is the birthday of an Aquarian who is in popular culture and has been there for many years. And I think that this Aquarian is the most Aquarian of all the Aquarians. And I think that this Aquarian, when I think of Aquarius, I think of this, other than myself, I think of this person, and that would be Yoko Ono. She's going to be 93 on the 18th of February. Her sun is so close to not being an Aquarius, almost Pisces, but she's indeed an Aquarius. And she is the epitome of what is called the anaretic degree of Aquarius, which is that last degree, which is like Aquarius boiled down to the juice, the essence, the stock broth, the flower essence, essential oil of Aquarius. It's all contained in Yoko because she's so Aquarian and such an avant-garde force, and has been her whole life. And the eclipse is right next to her sun. If you're born a couple of days before or after the eclipse, yes, you are going to feel that very strongly. If you have a planet near the eclipse, absolutely. So I think she's going to get some very intense energy from this eclipse. I don't know what that means for her. I hope it's good for her. She's going to be 93, so that's very intense. It's intense age. It's amazing that she's had such an incredible life. Not all good, obviously, and she is so Aquarian, and she is so representative of, the Fluxus movement and the avant-garde, and I think it's so very interesting that she's going to receive this eclipse at her 93rd birthday. So yeah, that's something I thought of. I'm always thinking of people born around these times, around these eclipses. So very profound. And the moon now is in Taurus, and it's going into Cancer later. It'll go into Gemini, and then it'll go into Cancer, and it'll greet Jupiter. So let's look forward to this. This is Friday the 30th. Moon-Jupiter conjunction. Very nice at 10:18 p.m. Eastern Time. That's a bright spot in the week. So that's a night when everyone's going to want, mashed potatoes and spaghetti and chicken noodle soup and carbohydrates and yummy things that give comfort. That's the nature of a Cancer moon, but it's also the nature of Jupiter being in Cancer, which is its exaltation. And when the moon and Jupiter come together in Cancer, as they do every month, we may, do a little picnic, or have a little cooking event, or have something that like warms the insides. Or you might visit your family and look at old photographs. It's a bit nostalgic. It's reminiscent. It's really lovely when the moon and Jupiter come together. And that's a bright spot in this week. Not that having, you know, Venus and Aquarius isn't a bright spot. It's very freedom oriented. It's very liberating and stuff. But this is something a little more cozy that we can get next to, right? So, maybe you want to go get some chocolate, which is what I did last week. Yeah, that was again my hairdresser who I told you he moved salons, and I went to the new salon the other day and got to see it, but it's in a shopping plaza that has this really good gourmet chocolate place, and I got some chocolate and it was like, wow, this is really good. Really good. Yeah, don't let me get started because I'll just talk about chocolate the rest of the podcast. But now we want to get excited. We want to prepare ourselves. We want to connect with what's going on for us during this time and understand if you do feel anger, maybe you won't process Mars Pluto as anger. Maybe you will process it as get up and go motivational energy, and maybe that'll really bring you something powerful and positive in your life. Depends on where it's landing. And maybe what you're going to feel this week is a real burst of energy and positivity and being able to go to the next level with yourself, which is really what Mars and Pluto want us to do. Go get it. Take a bite out of life. Go out and make something happen. And a lot of times we get stuck in the dark corner of Pluto in the basement. The dark corner of Pluto in the basement, and we get caught up in our head and our analysis and our our fight with ourselves and from the past, and fight with people from the past who aren't in our lives anymore. So please watch out for this energy. Please use it constructively and wisely and positively and optimistically. The moon will go into Gemini on Tuesday, and that's another air sign, as you know, and it will trine Pluto and trine Mars on Tuesday evening in the Eastern Standard Time Zone, and that's really helpful. It's going to go into Gemini at 3:55 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday the 27th, and it's really going to give us a boost of, thinking our way out of these kinds of conundrums that we might we might have crossing our path, right? So that moon in Gemini is really something that's going to benefit the planets that are in Aquarius. And I think that's going to help smooth things over a little bit while the Mars-Pluto conjuncts. And also then moon will move into Cancer, like I said, go to Jupiter, and then eventually it will go into Leo on Saturday, the 31st of January, the last day of January. The month is ending. The first month of 2026 is finishing. My goodness. So on the 31st, moon will go into Leo and then eventually be full on Sunday, the 1st. And we're going to get to see what surfaces as a result. Remember what I said on Instagram and then here before. Remember that pointing a finger does not get us anywhere. We have to look at the situations that are going on in the world, which are very complicated and very difficult, as the transformation that's going to bring a new day. And we have to look at these situations as being much bigger than a person causing them, because it's so much bigger than that. It's historical. And so we have to be aware. We have to be aware of, our own thoughts. Where are they coming from? Who are you really angry at? You're angry at your parents, your spouse, your goldfish? Who are you really angry at? And, take time with that, own it, be present for it, and get it so that you don't feel like you are going to get into a horrible argument with someone this week, okay? It's really important to be loving. So go get that coherence healing for free and let that love surround you in your life, and definitely allow yourself to be open to love and to peace and to connection with your fellow members of this earth. Okay? And in the meantime, if you want to connect with me and get an astrology session, well, that would be great. And you can have Reiki, you can have astrology, you can do expansion mentoring with me, and I will get you through the next bunch of months, because that will help define and redefine your life. And we can do expansion mentoring 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And, you just need to go to my website, thegoldenastrologer.com, and click book online, and that will take you to the page where you can book a session with me, and we can see what's going on for you, so that we can make something new of this energy. We want to use this energy wisely, right? We want to take it to the next level in our lives, okay? We don't want to just curl up in an angry ball and not respond to something that could really change our lives. We all want some change, right? We all want something to change, whether it's money or love or health or peace or something. And family, you want something to change. So let's take this energy and use it wisely, and come join me in session, and I would be delighted to see you. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Golden Astrologer Podcast, and I am on Instagram, the Golden Astrologer, and I hope that you have a beautiful week. Gratitude for listening, and I will see you on the internet. Much love and blessings to everyone.